If you're a female runner over 45 and you keep getting injured, I want to start by saying this. It does not mean you are weak. It does not mean you are lazy. And it definitely does not mean your body has suddenly handed in its resignation letter. But it may mean the way you are coaching yourself needs to change.
Exactly. And this is the part so many women miss. Most of the female runners over 45 we speak to are not short of discipline. They are busy, tired, working, caring for parents, dealing with sleep that may or not be cooperating, hormones doing whatever they fancy that week, and they are still getting the run done. So the problem is usually not effort. The problem is that the training plan does not match the body, the stress, or the life that is actually in front of them.
That is where self-coaching gets tricky because you're not just following a plan. You are emotionally attached to the plan.
Yep, you picked the race, you picked the goal, you wrote the plan or downloaded the plan or found one on ChatGPT that looked nice and official on the internet. And once it's on the fridge or in Training Peaks or written in a notebook with a very optimistic pen, it starts to feel like law. But after 45, a plan cannot be law. It has to be a conversation.
Today, we are talking through 5 huge mistakes self-coached female runners over 45 make that can lead to injury. And stay with us because the last one is the one that looks like a good personality trait. But it can quietly become the thing that keeps breaking you down. Before we get into the first one, if you are a female runner over 45 and you want training advice that actually understands this stage of running, make sure you subscribe. A lot of runners watch these videos, take the advice, nod along like we're talking directly to their knees, and then forget to subscribe. So let's start with the first mistake. Where do self-coached runners go wrong before the training has even started?
They build the plan around the runner they used to be. And that's not criticism, it's really normal. You remember what worked before, you remember the mileage you used to be able to handle, or the pace that generally felt easy. You remember how quickly you used to bounce back from sessions. So when you write a plan now, part of you is still thinking, well, I used to be able to manage this.
Which feels logical.
Yeah, it really does. But the problem with that is that the workout might look the same on paper, while the cost to the body is completely different. A long run you used to recover from in 24 hours may now sit in your legs for 3 days. A midweek session that used to sharpen you up may now leave you flat for the rest of the week. And a pace that used to be easy may now be sitting in that awkward, not quite hard, not quite easy zone.
So the first injury risk is not the session itself. It's assuming that the session still costs the same.
Yeah, that is exactly it. That is the line. The plan needs to be built around the body you have now, not the body from 10 years ago that apparently could survive anything on coffee, stubbornness, and perhaps one banana. And this is not about lowering your standards. It's about making the plan absorbable. Because if your body cannot recover from the work, it does not matter how good the plan looks. It's just a nicely formatted injury.
So the fix is?
Keep the goal, but change the direction. Add more space between hard sessions. Be more honest with your easy pace. Build recovery into the plan before you need it. And stop using your old best weeks as the template for your current normal weeks. That is where a lot of injuries start.
The second mistake. Every run becomes a little bit too hard. This one's going to annoy people because runners love a run that looks good on Strava.
They really do. And female runners over 45 are often brilliant at working hard. Sometimes too brilliant. Because when the run is meant to be easy, but then the pace looks a little bit slow, so you push a little bit more. Then someone passes you, so you push a little bit more. Then the average pace starts looking better, and suddenly your easy run has become a job interview.
And you're trying to impress Garmin.
Yeah, exactly. And Garmin is a terrible boss. This is one of the biggest injury traps. Not because the run is brutally hard, but because it's just hard enough to add stress, but not hard enough to count as a real quality session. So it sort of sits in the middle. And that middle zone is where a lot of runners live. They finish sweaty enough to feel productive, but tired enough to compromise the next run.
So what happens when too many runs sit there?
You never really recover. Your hard days are not as good. Your easy days are not actually easy. So your tendons, muscles, bones, and joints keep getting loaded without enough time to adapt. And for women over 45, that matters because hormonal changes in and around peri and post-menopause can affect things like bone, muscles, joints, and tendons. This does not mean that you're becoming fragile. It just means that load management matters more.
What should easy actually feel like?
It should feel like you could finish and still be pleasant to your family. That's the test. If you come back from an easy run and everyone knows not to make eye contact for half an hour, it probably wasn't easy enough. Easy should feel calm. You should be able to talk. You should not be bargaining with yourself in the last 10 minutes. And if slowing down feels embarrassing, that's a sign to change your mindset around easy runs.
Moving on to the next one. Let's talk about strength training because this is the one everyone knows they should do, and yet somehow it keeps not happening.
Yeah, strength training is like the flossing of running. Everyone agrees it's important and everyone intends to do it. And then suddenly it's been 6 months and something hurts.
Very accurate analogy there, Shona.
Yeah, for female runners over 45, strength is not something that's just extra. It's a part of staying durable. We are talking about muscle, bone, tendons, balance, hips, calves, hamstrings, glutes, all the things that stop running from feeling like your legs are held together by hope and kinesiology tape. Strength training is strongly supported for postmenopausal health because it helps maintain muscle mass, bone density, and overall function.
Where do female runners go wrong with it?
Well, they either do none, and then they just go absolutely feral. Nothing for months, and then suddenly it's squats, lunges, deadlifts, calf raises, core, bands, balance, and a workout called burn your legs in 20 minutes. And then they wonder why their next run is feeling like a hostage situation. Strength should support your running. It should not ambush it. So start small. 1 to 2 short sessions per week is fine. Basic, repeatable movements. Work on aspects like your calves, your glutes, your hamstrings, quads, hips, and of course your core. But build that up gradually until you eventually get to 3 sessions per week. And place it in the week so that it doesn't ruin or affect your key runs.
So no more chaos, more consistency.
Yeah, exactly. Boring strength done consistently beats chaotic, perhaps Instagram-worthy strength done twice and then never again.
And if someone is listening thinking, yes, I know I need strength, but please do not make me invent a gym plan, this is where the free strength program comes in.
Yeah, we have created a free strength training program for female runners over 45. It is simple, runner-friendly, and designed to support your running rather than leave you unable to sit down normally. You can scan the QR code on the screen or use the link in the description.
And stay with us because the next mistake is one a lot of women do not spot until they are already tired, grumpy, craving sugar at night, and wondering why every run feels like punishment.
A lot of female runners over 45 are not eating enough to support the training that they are doing. Jamie, sometimes it's intentional. Sometimes it's old diet culture hanging around like an unwanted guest. Sometimes it's just life. Breakfast becomes coffee, lunch becomes 3 crackers and a meeting, and then you try to run in the afternoon and then wonder why your legs felt like wet cardboard.
That's a very specific image.
And sadly, quite accurate. You can't ask your body to train, recover, maintain muscle, support bone, manage hormones, deal with life stress, and then give it half a sandwich and good intentions. Fuel is not a reward for running. Fuel is part of training. And this matters even more when strength and recovery are priorities because the body needs enough energy and protein to repair and adapt.
So, what's the practical fix without turning this into a nutrition lecture?
Start with the basics. Do not do longer or harder runs underfueled. Eat something before sessions that need energy. Get protein into your meals. Refuel after training and look for patterns. If you are often tired, irritable, struggling to recover, craving food at night, or picking up repeated niggles, underfueling could be part of that picture. And if food, weight, or body image feels complicated, please get support from a qualified professional.
Let's talk about the next mistake. The thing a lot of female runners know matters, but do not always know what to do with. Perimenopause and menopause.
Yes, and I want to say this clearly. Menopause is not the end of running. It is not a disaster. It is not the moment that you must lower every goal and buy beige walking shoes. But it is a real physiological transition, And if you are self-coached, you need to stop pretending that it is just a side note. Some women notice changes in sleep, mood, heat tolerance, energy, cycle patterns, joint aches, muscle response, and perhaps recovery. Not everyone gets the same symptoms. But if something feels different, you're not imagining it. The mistake is blaming yourself before you look at the bigger picture.
So instead of saying, I'm getting lazy, the question becomes, what feedback is my body giving me?
Exactly. Maybe hard sessions need a little bit more space. Maybe recovery weeks need to happen a little bit sooner. Perhaps strength becomes a non-negotiable. Maybe sleep disruption means that the next day's run needs a little bit of adjusting. Maybe you need some medical support, blood work, or menopause-informed practitioner if symptoms are really affecting your life. The point is to not panic. The point is to stop forcing the same plan when the inputs have changed. If the weather changes, you do not keep wearing the same outfit and complain that the sky is wrong. You adapt. And training is the same.
And this is exactly why we created the Running Through Menopause Masterclass, because so many female runners are not lacking effort. They're lacking a training structure that fits the body they have now.
In the masterclass, we go deeper into how to train after 45 in a way that keeps you building fitness without constantly flirting with injury. We talk about easy running, intensity, strength, recovery, and how to stop treating every setback like a personal failure. So if this conversation is making you think, this is me, then use the link in the description or the QR code to join the next free masterclass. Now, the next part is the reason self-coached female runners can be smart, experienced, and still miss the warning signs.
So we've gone through the 5 big ones, but there's something underneath all of them, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Self-coached runners often do not have a feedback system. They have a plan, but they do not have a reliable way to decide when the plan needs changing. And that is a problem, because when you are coaching yourself, you're not neutral. You want the plan to work. You want the race to happen. You want to believe that the niggle is nothing, or to think that tiredness is just a bad week.
So you become both the coach and the athlete. And the athlete is usually very persuasive.
Very persuasive and often slightly dramatic. And this is why you need a simple feedback system. Not complicated, just honest. Every week, ask yourself, how is my sleep? Are any of these niggles repeating? Are easy runs getting harder? Am I recovering between sessions? Am I fueling enough? Is my mood changing? Did this week build me or did I just survive it? That last question is huge because a lot of runners are just surviving training and calling it consistency.
That is a very big distinction.
It is. And self-coaching can work, but only if you are willing to coach yourself, not just obey yourself. A plan is not a contract. It is a guide. For female runners over 45, the best plan is the one that can change before the body has to shout.
So if you are a self-coached female runner over 45 and you keep getting injured, the answer is not to blame your body, and it is not to give up on big goals.
Yeah, the answer is to stop using the same rules forever. Update the plan. Make easy runs truly easy. Strength train before something hurts. Feel like someone who actually wants to recover. Respect the menopause curveball and build a feedback system that helps you adjust before something breaks. Because the runners who last are not the ones who ignore every warning sign and just push through no matter what. They are the ones who learn how to respond.
That leads into the next problem, because even when female runners over 45 stop making these mistakes, many still struggle with one thing. They feel fit, but they cannot get faster without getting injured. And that is a completely different puzzle. So watch this video next, because we're going to break down why female runners over 45 often lose speed and how to start getting it back without turning every workout into a risk.